where they really want everybody to think, meaning Daniel and Malaya, that they really don't know what happened, yet give you all of these pieces of information that directly contradict with a person that would otherwise straight up be lying, but telling you that they don't know anything while giving you as much information that would contradict what it is they're trying to portray or lay claim to.
Yeah,
It's
the
bizarre.
muddying of the waters.
When I say bizarre, it's not like I don't already know the answer to that. They're lying in this circumstance. There's only one real answer to this. And if they're
Mhm.
being deceptive, if they're lying, then obviously that they have to have something to do with the fate of Jack and Lily.
Definitely. I think that the three people on
So
that
where
property are know something went on. Daniel more so than others. I struggle with the belief that Malaya was physically responsible for what happened to the children. The farthest I can go with that is neglectful in that she was checked out, mentally checked out, and likely due to her situation with Daniel, who was abusive, a narcissist, and
well,
using
just that
coercive
Wednesday, they
control.
were out getting her a license plate for her car, like her
Mhm,
last moments through into freedom. Why they did all of this
exactly.
together with the kids who were supposedly sick,
Mhm.
and not in a way that would represent people who got along in that regards. So what else is going on in this relationship? It makes me question this. And of course, you're never going to get a straight answer from Daniel. What Malay is silent, of course. So I mean, we're left to speculate.
Yeah, I think that
Which seems to be
he was
fairly
beginning
accurate
to
considering
control.
everything else that's going on in their lives. Sorry to talk over you.
That's all right. I think he was beginning to lose control of the relationship. He was
Yeah.
seeing that she was getting in her own vehicle and that she had the support of her
Well,
family, and
simply,
then
why hasn't she gone? It's not a one off. I mean,
mhm,
she obviously wanted to go. What prevented her? The only answer to all of that is Daniel, the other person in the relationship,
mhm,
doing the atypical moves. There's no other reason. She didn't stay because of the cooking. She didn't stay because she loved to fucking wade in the pool in the backyard or hid in the sauna or hot tub in that place. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So,
it
I
was
mean, the only
her
real answer
keep
to all of
hoping.
that is Danny making these
Yeah,
false
she
promises and it falling back into this cycle with him again. They're falling into all kinds of cycles that tie into one another.
yes. I think that, she kept hoping, like, as do most women in a relationship like that he would change and he would go back to the Daniel that he was when they met at the waterfall. You know, I think she was
Yeah.
holding on to that hope that he would change, and then he would keep saying, "I will turn back to that guy. I will be that Daniel that you met before," and he just didn't. He just kept smoking the glass stick and turned into everything she never wanted.
Well, it certainly doesn't improve their relationship.
No. No, there
That's
was no improvement.
if she says that, that's one of the most significant communications from her, and that was believed in a communication to Belinda, talking about how she knew Daniel was involved in these drugs the day before. She says she went in to be induced with Meadow. So that there's a lot of information in that little particular communication that would suggest what really began in in the pattern of reckless behavior that led to the fate of Jack and Lily and all of this. And we're pointing to death.
Yeah. I
Well,
think it's yeah, that was she was at a very vulnerable time. She it appears as though they weren't together very long either before she got pregnant with Daniel. And she finds out that
how
he's
long do you know?
well, I'm gonna say not longer than a year. I'm gonna say 9 months they were together before she got pregnant.
Because
I
even the way
can't
Belinda speaks about it, like the way Belinda talks about it, she talks about it in a way that would that it's fluid in its time. Like there's not a whole lot of time that has passed. It wasn't all of a sudden like she was already still in Jack and Lily's life as this transition to this new man Daniel, like this whole process, and she signified that there was a change in her behavior looking back on it now.
Meadow
So
was
it had
born.
to have been fairly quickly between Cody and Daniel. I'm interested in that time period, knowing about all of this, like knowing how they hooked up, got together, and you know why essentially Malaya decided to go with Daniel. Like, what was it? What was it that attracted to her to Daniel the most at that point in time? Not that I'm trying to take away from Daniel, just because I'm just interested in what she thought was a lot safer. Like, how bad was her situation, and what was she in dire need of? Like, what was her motivations to get into this new relationship? I guess there's many questions there. I guess it's loaded.
Yeah, I think there was somebody in between them as well, between Cody and Daniel. So I think she's the kind of person who doesn't like to be alone. That's the kind of feeling that I get, which is quite common for people. They don't know how to be
People can
alone.
relate to
They,
that. A lot of people can relate to that in that sense, but some
yeah,
people take it to an extreme,
yeah.
especially that she's got kids.
Hmm.
Like, this is what is horrible about it.
And they lived at Patty's for a while before they went to Janie's trailer.
Hmm.
So I think they went there when she was pregnant with Meadow. So Belinda was still seeing Malaya and the kids before she moved into Janie's. And then
Yeah,
when she moved
she
into
mentioned she
Janie's,
would stop over there, right? She's
sorry,
been to Patty's before. She's mentioned she's been to Patty's before.
yeah, she met Derwood there before, which I found interesting as
Belinda
well. Yeah,
met Derwood at Patty's.
they were happened to be there at the same time.
When was this?
Derwood mentioned it in a live on Sunny's on Sunny Austin's It's a Criming Shame. He said, "Oh yeah, I met you there. I was there this time." Blah blah blah. And then for a little while there was
So,
talk
so
that
what would that mean in time frame then? Because that would suggest to me that there's a lot more going on, and Derwood's a lot more deeply involved in all of this than anything. No matter what we speculate about, but that right there would suggest it to me. Like, there's
exactly
don't even want him to explain it. I
exactly.
can.
How do you say that you've never met Jack and Lily if you met Belinda at Patty's house
And what was
when
the reason for Derwood being at Patty's house in the first place? Like,
that's her cousin, right? And
yeah, yeah,
for
no, I know
once,
it's a distant
yeah,
cousin, but the way that he's introduced it and the way that he's portrayed himself in that sense would be contradict or contrary. He came out initially and said that he had no idea about who any of them were, as just
exactly,
that he was a distant relative.
exactly. Yep, he did. That's why I don't
Not
believe
that he was
anything that
already
he
over
says.
there visiting.
Yep.
That
And
would just a personal relationship.
yeah, yeah. Well, somebody in chat is saying that Derwood lived at Patty's for a few months when Malia was living there. That came out apparently that it was not Darren that was living there. It was his brother Vernon who was staying there, who came from out west. And that just gave me more ammunition because I was like, okay, so his brother came from out west and was staying at Patty's. Darren didn't go see his brother at Patty's. Bullshit, he didn't. Bullshit, he didn't. So he wants to say that he doesn't know these kids and he didn't know Daniel and all that. All of it was a load of crap. Just like how we found out that Daniel and Jordan had been friends since they were
They're like
15 years old. You
bonded
want to tell
together
me he
like
never
sex
met him
partners.
before that? That's yeah, all right.
I just can't trust anything that he has to say anymore in that sense. Derwood, you're a bullshit artist. You're a
Yeah.
distraction.
Dirty Derwood. Dirty Derwood.
He is a bit dirty. Belinda
He's
thought it was
dirty.
Derwood, and Derwood called Belinda all pissed off, said it was his brother, Jesse saying. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he got all mad because I can't
That's
I
somewhat
brought it out.
interesting. That is somewhat interesting, but it would just go back to reinforce to what we already suspect, right? But
Yeah.
it's just a little bit coming out. But good for people staying on it and identifying it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, he
funny.
doesn't want to ever address that kind of stuff. Like I said, with his selective answering, he won't answer questions like that. He only wants to talk about how incompetent the RCMP are and how they won't go and get the kids and how he's 1,000% ironclad. He knows where they are and still pointing the finger at Haley.
Imagine even
Uh,
saying that, just saying that in a situation.
I said that Michelle Glasgow should sue him because he says that she knows where they are too and that she helps Malaya see them. Imagine.
Really? Does
Yeah,
she really?
that's what he says. He said that typed it out. I got
What
screenshots of
are
him
you going to
saying
get out
that.
of Derwood? He doesn't have any money. It's not like he has anything in that sense.
No, I know, but it might make him shut his big trap.
Yeah, it's a funny idea. Maybe it's something to pursue when we know more about what happened to Jack and Lily,
Yeah.
because his intent will stick out that much more than it is. It's always difficult, and you got to try not to fall in that trap of trying to figure out what somebody's bringing to you in that moment about what's true and what's not, like Derwood always wants to, right?
Mhm.
That's his whole game.
Yeah.
It leads you around in a constant confused state.
Yes. It's almost like he's done it before. It's almost like that's what his role is to be the muddier of the waterer. Do you know what I mean? That's what his main
Yeah,
goal
I've tried to
is.
see it both ways. I've tried to see it through, especially that I talked to Jordan in that sense. I don't even hold it against them. I don't even hold it against them. Like, everybody has friends in that sense, and people are
Mhm,
going to believe certain people and certain friends, no matter what it is. Okay, just because they look at it from a certain different way than you're getting to know them and the information that you're coming around. That stands out, and that happens. I kind of give it up to that a little bit, but the one thing that sticks out with Derwood is that the unfortunately in this situation, from my perspective, I can't get away from the purposeful lying that he's done early on in the case, and I can't forgive that. I forgive everything else. Like, I don't even hold it against them. It's rather obvious as you watch him to see what it is that he's trying to push, what he's trying to do. An individual is undermining the tragic situation about whatever it is that happened to Jack and Lily, to try to shove it off and put blame on somebody else in front of a group of people. He's
mhm.
that type of fucking guy. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole rationale behind doing that under the guise that you think that you know more and want to pretend in front of a group of people that you do is undermining what it is that's actually happening around us, and
Mhm.
at bare bones a complete distraction. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, that's far and beyond all of the necessary uh, reasons to get attention, but it goes beyond just wanting to get attention in all of this, right?
Mhm.
He's just a circus sideshow in that sense, and he's voluntarily doing it. So
Yeah. That's why I say he brings it all on himself. So if he wants to blame anyone, he just needs to look in the mirror and realize that he brought this all on himself. He's the one that made that call to Dolly.
and
He's the one.
he's still never going to be accountable for what anything that he says in that sense. It's not like that's where the
Mhm,
conversation lays with him. It's always
mhm,
something new with that stooge. There's
mhm,
always this next thing. Now all of a sudden the dude is in a fight with Janie over something that people have been calling out and calling him out on for months, and nobody wants to add any context to it, or it doesn't really have any rhyme or reason. It's hard to swallow or believe. It might just be a great way to get you to forgive him in your mind enough to read the next little bit of information, which is this new bullshit story that you were mentioning behind in the private chat,
yeah, it's
or
definitely
the
a sense
next
of
certain
responsibility.
narrative that he wants to push, which is a distraction away from the obvious ludicrousness of the claims that Malaya and Danny have come up with. You could sit here and talk to death the words that they said in regards to what happened that Friday, and question them, especially Malaya. You would think that Malaya's little speech in front of the cameras that day would make a lot more sense as to what it is what that happened. The biggest
Yeah,
red flag in my mind at that moment was the fact that she couldn't decide what really happened, if the kids were in or out, and she wasn't in and out of sleep. She didn't want to say what was actually going on. That's something that you say when you're trying to walk on eggshells in that sense, trying
mhm.
to be a little bit more obscure.
You've been told a story to tell and you can't remember it all. Like, the
Yeah,
kids are
Desiree
playing
Schneider, you're right.
outside. Yeah, the
Sorry,
kids
go
are
ahead.
playing outside, but
Moment she starts talking in the past tense, under the guise we. She's talking about we. That's a real problem.
hey, Charmaine, how was your how was your show? I heard you had a packed house.
What's going on, girl? Chelsea Gray 86. Unless you believe something happened. Where'd you go? Unless you believe something happened that morning, we have to acknowledge all three are lying about hearing them. Absolutely. We talked about that earlier on, but we'll certainly acknowledge that every step of the way. Absolutely. And you can tell that they're lying because them hearing them isn't a replacement for the question at hand. And about when was the last time you visually saw the kids? And they didn't want to answer. They wanted to jump to hearing them because you can always, mistake what it is that you're hearing. It's distancing themselves. That's in this circumstance with Jack and Lily. That's a definite red flag. Yeah, they're absolutely lying. Three of them that didn't see them that day. Yet Malaya called them in sick for school yet again. Well, you didn't think that you wanted to check on the kids. You have after the fact. You have nothing to say about what you or the kids were up to for a real 12 to 14 hours, all through the night into that evening. That's a real problem. That's literally avoiding avoiding at max. You know, nobody ignores their kids for 16 hours in a row. Parents worry. They check on their kids. Kids don't go down that quickly. And the more that you think about it, the more that you can put together in a timeline. But the problem here is you don't want to commit to saying anything, and you're leaving it empty. You're leaving it blank. You're refusing to answer the question. That is going to be a demonstration in front of the jury as just another example of your lies and deception all along the way, your uncooperative nature toward the investigation.
Yeah.
Past just giving them people in a superficial story. Nothing about the story that they gave is remotely acceptable, we'll say.
Daniel's now saying he didn't hear them playing in the morning, apparently, Ginger is saying, but I don't believe anything that happened that morning. I think everything and anything that happened was
They're
Thursday evening.
waiting to call the police. Whatever happened already happened, and they're getting everything in position for when the cops show up.
Yeah. There was no discussion about Meadow, who was 14 months old at the time, about getting her up and feeding her and giving her and changing her diaper or anything like that. And she would be, I presume, on a bottle at around that time. So between the time of 6:17 when she called in Malaya, called in the children for absence that day, and 9:40, there was no mention of caring for Meadow and getting her a bottle, getting her breakfast. There is no way that a child is going to wake up and you're going to put the TV on for her and she's going to go back to sleep.
With the TV on, stimulation. You're going to stimulate the
Yeah.
fuck out of your kid and go back and lay down in bed. Not how it works. No, I get it. That's
No,
the last thing
they
that you
would
do.
need a
And more importantly, that's the last thing that you want your child to become accustomed to. How about get them some food and interact with your children, get them up ready for the day? Let's seize the day, kids. I fucking just love to dump that bed on them. They're not in bed. They weren't in bed. Who uses that as an excuse? We were drifting in and out of sleep. We were drifting in and out of sleep, not quite sure exactly what was going on. I heard them here and there, and they could have only voluntarily walked out on their own, never to be seen again. That's going to be a problem.
yeah. And
Within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, not finding the kids, and you're an officer, something else happened. Therefore, the investigation takes a different route. Now, I wish that they set up camp at these dump sites. I don't know that they did not, but I haven't heard any talk about that. In my mind, that should be something that goes on right away, no matter what. Time is of the essence. But that's specifically for evidence.
yeah, the Thursday night is really why I can't just get past that. I can't get past the lack of details. I can't get past the no dinner, no discussion about dinner, the bedtime of either 8 or 9 or
No
10.
description of interactions between any one members of the family. It was like
No.
they were so close together yet so very far away.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. They're in such proximity around there, it'd be impossible not to overhear everything that goes on.
They would have heard the kids outside.
You would hear the kids inside.
Yeah. They would have heard if they were playing outside, but they didn't know it at the time. How did they not know it at the time? I mean, the walls are thinner than friggin' paper.
Right.
You're going to
You're
hear.
basically living, yeah, right. You're living behind a sheet of aluminum. Hello, Charmaine. She should be breastfeeding, if on rugs. I think she shouldn't be breastfeeding.
I mean, she could have been still. I mean, it's cheaper. I don't know. I
It's more
just can't
nourishing.
see it.
It's
I
natural.
yeah.
No,
I
mention of breastfeeding, but anyway, we probably don't need to bring that up.
no. But I
Seems to
mean,
be a
it would
lot of
explain why there
appetites.
was no bottle being made or anything like that, I suppose. But it's not
Usually,
enough.
you've got if you're listen. I always have backup. If that baby's on bottles, there's backups coming because after that one, there should be one be already made ready to go too. And while you're getting that one bottle prepped, you're making the one to get. You know what I mean? You have a cycle. You have a system going,
Yeah. Most people do.
anticipating that the kid's going to also need a snack in how many ever hours in that sense. Every three thereabouts.
Yeah. I yeah, although if she was breastfeeding, the baby would still need a snack. At 15 months old, they
Oh, on
are
top
on
of the
solid.
breastfeed, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like even if that
Aunt and
were
Uncle.
the case, there definitely is still food involved. There's not enough I mean by 1 years old you're introducing other things. You're by six
Lots of
months old,
grapes,
9 months
grapes and
old.
some boob milk.
Yeah. But
They were called off school for a cough, yet nobody heard it. Nobody checked up on the kids. Especially, yeah, yeah. So they want us to believe that they were sick nor'easter, yet they never treated like they were sick. They towed them around Hell's Half Acre all those 3 days. Nobody was
they weren't
resting.
sick. It was a black
Exactly. They
eye.
weren't sick at all. Well, so he says, or so it's been said. How do we really know? It's the answer is that he's lying, right? So you don't really need to know anything else past that. It all comes back to the same. Wolfie,
Mhm.
what's going on, mofo?
Even
Malaya
when he's
has
worked up, he
no
soothes
routine
my
with the
brain.
kids. What's that?
Charmaine's complimenting your voice. We
Oh,
all
thank you so
fangirl
much,
behind the
Charmaine.
scenes about your
Oh
voice.
yeah, girl. Oh yeah. You want to hear me talk dirty? You want to hear me talk dirty, Charmaine?
Just don't read any of Daniel's texts again. We're all traumatized still.
Oh Jesus, that's so traumatizing.
It was.
Alice fell in the mud. And wearing the clothes they wore all day in the yard. That's another point too. Squid, you got it right. Around town, yeah, no clothing changes. It's just again speaking to the amount of avoidance, all of the things that they're not mentioning in these circumstances. They're too concerned with polishing a particular story and having people digest things so certain. Oh, it's just all a mystery. I'm mystified. Isn't that right, Derwood? That crap made me wish I was lobotomized.
Yeah. And there's no way, I just cannot see how, I don't care how lazy you are, that you got home from town. Janie says the kids were digging in the dirt, lifting up pieces of wood and picking up worms, that they were outside. So they spent Thursday night, no, sorry, Wednesday night in those pajamas, all day Thursday going around town in those pajamas, come home, sit and play in the dirt in those pajamas, and then you put them to bed in those same
Well,
pajamas.
yeah, and socks. It's just the way that she spoke. Daniel said the kids didn't go to bed in those clothes after the fact. It's another contradiction. But
Yeah.
I got thinking to myself about how odd that statement was, and for a moment I wondered if all of those clothes weren't in those garbage bags because she was planning on moving. They're already pre-packaged up in those garbage bags. It
Mhm.
had nothing to do with necessarily, yeah, maybe they're going to be all be washed, just something to say, right? But like that's a lot of laundry to be towed into somebody's house and taking up hours upon your time. it probably had more to do with the fact that she was moving out, or I thought about the possibility. Just how off
Yeah,
the comment was to mention. Like she was using it as an excuse as why there wasn't clothing changes earlier, or to be more specific, why the kids went to bed wearing something in particular as opposed to pajamas, a PJ set. You know, kids usually love to put their favorite PJs on and go and lay up in bed. It's part of the process that we groom them to enjoy and get used to. You know, so
absolutely.
what is
Yeah.
it she's alluding to? What is she avoiding? She's definitely mentioning it for a reason. Now, what is that reason? To ward off suspicion of there being anything out of the ordinary, loosely. But you can go far beyond that with this at this point. It's not very good. Uh, the fact that she's avoiding it for a particular reason, because she doesn't want to speak probably to any deeper into the conflict that led up to whatever happened to Jack and Lily between her and Daniel in the moment with the police officer. So she's providing the police officer with that particular justification in place. They were just washing them all up Aunt Patty's, as opposed to, I was about to leave this fucking prick last night or the night before. It's been an ongoing thing. You don't want to start talking about conflict. You want to get the hell out of here. You have a story, an agreed upon story with Danny, and you're trying to get away with something because you want to evade any sort of responsibility.
One of the worst nights was another thing that really stuck with me.
Yeah, one of the
And
worst nights. Yeah, there's
yeah,
many bad nights that go on here, but this one was the worst. Yeah, I get you.
yeah, yeah, one of the worst nights, and it was referring to the night where they weren't in their beds. And I was like, well, what would be worse than that? What night would be worse than the night that they're not in their beds?
The night
The night
before.
before.
Yeah. What had
Yummy.
happened.
Yeah, right?
That's a slip. Yeah, that was some leakage right there you pointed out.
Yeah.
That's hardcore leakage, Danny. I think we're missing a big piece of the puzzle, says Nick. Well, of course we are. But with everything that we've put together thus far, I'm pretty sure that we know which direction to go. And it all centers around this particular time frame and having these assholes answer the questions for us, because we don't need to be sitting here putting in those blanks. It's them who needs to provide an answer, and they're up 7 months into this refusing to provide any answers as to why the timeline really has no point. There's nothing to the timeline. I pray that she has shared what she knows to the RCMP and is working with continually. You keep on praying, Debbie Roberts.
What do you think? Do you
If
think
she if
that
she was if she was opening up to if she opened up to the RCMP, they would have fucking handcuffs on them right away. Right away. They did something to Jack and Lily. Absolutely.
so do
They
you
have
think
to. They're more concerned about building rapport and needing to
mhm.
talk to her in a certain way to get a reliable confession out of her. They just need to figure it out and do it their way. Whatever's hampering them, I wish I knew. But it's going to be all about rapport building. It's not. They're not going to be in there throwing heavies at this point. It might not be to their best interest. They've gone this far. There's already division between the two. They just need a little bit of time to be able to ask the right questions, to figure out what those questions are going to be, and then pursue them wholeheartedly. And when they pursue them and there's no answers to them, that's when they're going to run into problems. They're not
What
going
do
to
you
be able
think
to rely on not answering in this situation. And that's what they've been relying on every step of the way. Do you hear that, Kent? Do you hear that, Derwood, you son of a bitch? You curly haired old freak. You and Danny touch each other in the background when all the lights are low. Something's up with you freaks. And it has everything to do with gay sex, and I know it. I'm certain of
um
it. I'm putting it out there. You don't